Hey, Shalom, Akim, Shalom. First thing and foremost, I'm going to give all praises and glory and honor that's due to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakakwadash. I'm going to like to give double honors to the apostles and elders, great millstone. Blessings and salutations to the hopeful elect. Noise in this gospel, bro, lifting up the standard of Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, wherever it may be. This is a lesson through the Spirit. Found this article through the group meet. Brothers was kind of going into it, and I looked up the logistics of this article or this website called Crypto Slate, and found out that it actually is a reliable source of getting information about the cryptocurrencies and the markets and the CBDCs and so forth. Because like I've even stated in a previous video, that with these bank runs, remember. These bank runs, remember that they were used as ploys to pretty much make the banks obsolete of cash because they want to bring in this digital currency. Okay, so anybody that's been following the trends of these pilot programs and they've been speaking on going digital for some time, you would know that the bank runs are basically just another way to systematically collapse the banks, so they can say, well, look, the banks are collapsing. They're no longer to hold bonds or stocks or your cash at a certain percentage. So therefore, we have to do away with the dollar. The dollar's collapsing. Okay, what you're witnessing is a soft collapse, which will soon become a worldwide collapse, which will lead the nations into a possible World War III scenario. But we'll have to wait and see for that. But it says speculations mount that U.S. backing crisis was a ploy to push CBDCs. CBDC stands for central bank digital currencies. Okay, we speak on CBDCs because we understand that this whole blockchain system, and with the current currency becoming obsolete, we know that this new system would tie into that CHIP. Okay, the CHIP and the CBDCs goes in hand tangibly because for the simple fact they complement one another. Okay, the CHIP being the biometrics and what your information is linked up to, you being able to buy and sell somehow is going to tie into this new digital system, because the central bank digital currencies, they're nothing but digital currencies. Okay, and we know that the mark of the beast, the CHIP, is that of digital matter. So it makes sense that they're trying to go towards a cashless society. Everybody thought the euro was going to be the world currency and all this other stuff, but they kind of switched it up on the people. But it says, the general partner at Castle Island Ventures said the weekend turmoil strengthened the case for CBDCs. It says now no one trusts banks, which nobody could never trust banks. Banks are crooks. I mean, they're only liable to pay you up to 10% of your money in case of a collapse. So that's highway robbery. Okay, my thing is if somebody put me in possession of $100 million and they get sabotaged or whatever happens, I'm responsible in paying that whole jab back. I can't just say, well, I'm going to give you 10% of your money under insurance. No, man, I got to pay the whole jab back because it's only right. Okay, we trust you to put our money in a safe account, not to be touched or loaned out to fund war or fund, the alphabet community or fund the welfare state known as Israel. Okay, we put our trust in you to hold our money safe, But then all of a sudden something happens to your domain or your livelihood, and then they only, we could give you 10% under insurance. Fuck that. Bring me my money. It says the CBDCs provide a solution by taking them out of the equation and having a direct link between people and the central bank. It says, a quote, it says the political case for CBDCs became much, much stronger this weekend, and the issue with CBDCs was always disintermediating commercial banks. But now no one trusts commercial banks, right? Like Chase, Wells Fargo, Bank of America. Bank of America has been stealing from customers for years. I remember when I used to bank with them years ago, and they had a jittery policy then. But it says it's important to know that different CBDC models exist, including a wholesale model, which uses banking intermediaries. But it says, nonetheless, the further details on the banking crisis come out include allegations of deliberate ploy to smear cryptocurrencies. Carter has told the wait. It says on March 9th, Silvergate announced it's winding down its operations following the liquidity issues. It says the crypto bank said it was struggling amid Q4, which is quantitative easing 2022, surge in withdrawals, prompting forced selling of assets at a loss to cover its own withdrawal liabilities. But Silicon Valley Bank was taken over by the Federal Deposit Insurance Corporation, which is FDIC, on March 10th, as the Elling take lender was subject to liquidity crisis from a spat of mass withdrawals. People was taking their money out. But it says the incident sparked discussion on how the U.S. 16th largest bank could become so exposed, especially as it remains well capitalized. But likewise, New York regulators shut down Signature Bank on March 12th, saying it was necessary to stop the banking crisis from spreading. So you see what they're doing here. They're trying to stop it, but a lot of times you have with these they call them bailouts, but they're really buying them out. They're buying them out and becoming different subsidiaries, and then you can open up more branches, or you can choose to take your money out, or however they want to do it. But regardless of this system, it's crashing, man, and they're trying to hide it under the form of, the banks are going under, but they're really crashing the system to bring in this new system. That's what it's all about at the end of the day. All right. It says the Fed announced its bank term funding program in response to the crisis, but the program will loan financial institutions the par value of assets held, thus ensuring the system is sufficiently liquid. So, like, what happens is they borrow money from the Fed, and then the money they get, they take out and borrow against that money. And that's how they keep the interest rates growing, because basically what happens is if you take out a loan at a bank, they can charge you interest on the money that they've already borrowed, but you paying the interest on it. It's fucking highway robbery, man. Like Meyer Amshar Bauer, he said, look, give me control of the nation's supply of money. I'll care not who write his laws. And here you go. Banking has been the biggest fraud since the Federal Reserve has been established in 1913, because the Federal Reserve is nothing but a private-owned bank. That's all it is. And they pump this money into circulation. The U.S. government borrow it at an interest rate, and then they have to pay the Fed back. But they can't pay it back because there are trillions of dollars in what you call in debt. So they have to reset the currency because they can't pay the Fed back. That's why they had a term called abolish the Fed, which the Republicans were speaking on that, doing away with the IRS, because that's basically tyranny. They force you to file an income tax, and you want to get a third of your money back, but yet all your money is going to this war, to these momos, etc., to wickedness, and a lot of it is going in the pocket of these bankers. Because they basically take the physical cash and they're buying tangible assets with it, fiat currency. So with physical cash, by the U.S. dollar being the central reserve currency, they can literally buy land and gold with the U.S. dollar, because for the simple fact, it's the world's reserve currency, fiat currency, So, but it says Signature Bank board members and former U.S. Representative Barney told CNBC the bank faced no insolvency concerns and was arbitrarily seized. But Frank put down this to regulators wanting to smear the crypto industry. He says, I think part of what happened was the regulators wanted to send a very strong anti-crypto message. But it says Cochran spoke of the political wrongdoing to push a hidden agenda. He called the actions a thinly veiled attempt to bully the crypto industry. All right, but chiming in, Bitcoin maximalized Jimmy Song said that the BTFP effectively nationalized the banking sector, making a CBDC the natural progression from here. So that's the point. They're collapsing these banks in order to bring in the CBDC, to bring in the CHIP, which the CBDC and the CHIP, they're not the same thing, but they're going to tie hand in hand. How they going to do it, I don't know. Okay, but it's just a wait and see approach. But it's interesting to watch this thing unfold because, through the spirit and power of Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai, we've been predicting these things and speaking on them for a long time. Now there's speculation out there on what they're going to do with it. But in the game is they're going to put that C-HIP in people. That's going to be needed in order for you people to live your daily lives. You're going to need to get that C-HIP in you. Like right now, they're talking about reparations out there in parts of California, I believe. $5 million a Jake, which that's nothing. But see, that's going to come with some attachments to it. Brothers was kind of joking about it. Could come with a military draft pass or a guaranteed micro C hit, but they're not going to give you that $5 million in tangible assets or tangible money. You know what I'm saying? I don't think it's going to be cash based. Well, if it is cash based, by them printing that money out of thin air, they just going to further increase the inflation. Okay, and they're going to expedite the collapse of the system, which they can turn around and blame Jake for it. Okay, like when Nero burnt down Rome, he blamed Israelites for it. So when a dollar collapsed, they can easily say, well, we gave blacks reparations. We gave them millions of dollars, and that added the demise of the U.S. dollar. Now we're in the free fall. That can be a war out against Jake, man. I mean, they can go that route. I mean, it's kind of minuscule if you ask me. It's kind of pointless, but I mean, they can go that route. Because the average person in America that knows just a smaller bit about money, they should understand that regardless if they got reparations or not, the U.S. government was responsible for printing and distributing the funds. So you can't blame Jake and say, well, you niggas cried for reparations. Yeah, they did. But at the same time, your government had the choice to shoot it down. So you can't just blame Jigsaw because you niggas wanted reparations. No. But who knows? We'll see. I think the reparations is utter bullshit. But, like I said, we'll see. But anyway, this is the book of Zephaniah 1. Matter of fact, let's go here first. This is the book of Zephaniah 1. And I'm going to start at verses 10. It says, and it shall come to pass in that day, says the Lord, that there should be a noise of a cry from the fish gate and a howling from the second and a great crashing from the hills, okay? That's your markets, okay? Your hills represent your high governments. It says a great crashing from the hills, okay? And you go into Mektesh. Mektesh was like a merchant city. Deal with a lot of trade and commerce, okay? A lot of water lines like the Mediterranean. That's a very important sea hub in the ancient world. Even to this day, the Mediterranean Sea is very lucrative when it comes to buying and selling in national blockchains, etc. It's very lucrative. And it says, how ye inhabitants of Mektesh, for all the merchant people are cut down, and all they that bear silver are cut off. That's your Wall Street, your moguls, your investors, your stockbrokers, your bankers, your high time investors, man, your CEOs. They all invest in some form of stock on Wall Street. Even Jake, man, like if you think about it, shit, we was pretty much one of the first commodities that was sold on Wall Street, slavery. Okay, auctioning blocks right there, 25, 35, 75, 45, they selling Jake off. This buck sold to the nearest bidder for $20 or whatever. Even today, they're still harvesting and selling Jakes through birth certificates, man, social security cards. Like it came out a while back, like what they call a straw man identity. Basically, people was looking up their social security numbers and they was finding all this millions of dollars in their name and like these particular frozen accounts. And when people tried to withdraw their money, they was penalized for it because the money ain't yours. Okay, they put it like in a dummy account, which is under your name. That's why your name is in all caps, because it represents you being a dead entity. So you could take out a loan in a dead person's name when you can open up an account in a fraudulent name. You could put money in it and say Sally Joe or Sally Sue or something. But Sally Sue can't access the money because it's not her funds. Okay, and a lot of that is basically the investment that they didn't invest in your ass, man. Remember, we're still slaves, man. Okay, we're still livestock, so to speak. We're still counted as 3/5 of a man. Okay, don't let that affirmative action nonsense fool you, Jakes, to think you really have rights. Because if you had rights, they wouldn't be able to just mercilessly gun you down in the streets without no remorse. And I just thought I'd remind you, Jakes, of that. Okay, and it says, how ye inhabitants of Mektesh, for all the merchant people cut down and all they bear silver are cut off. Because it's going to be a collapse. Eventually, this is going to just be a collapse, and it's going to spiral out of control, and it's going to lead to riots and chaos in the streets of Babylon the Great. All right. It says, and it should come to pass at that time that I will search Jerusalem with candles, and the Lord is doing that as we speak, and punish the men which are settled on their leaves. Okay, you guys out there that's not speaking on this thing, man, you're complacent. You're lackadaisical. You're not really looking at the prophecies. Lord is going to punish you dudes and saying ain't hard. The Lord would not do no good, neither will they do evil. And that's those guys that focus mainly on cursing and rebuking great millstone and the brothers in our camps, man. They're not looking at the banking crashes. They're focused on, oh, these men, they're this and that. No, man. You focus on the wrong shit. Like I say, I'm not finna lose my salvation because I'm mad at a man. It's not that deep. I could be mad at somebody all I want, but that ain't worth me losing my salvation over. And that's what you jigs don't understand. Your priorities are in the wrong goddamn place. And you wonder why you don't get nowhere, and you wonder why you fall out the truth eventually. And it says, therefore, their goods should become booty, which is spoil, and their houses a desolation, and they should also build houses and not inhabit them, and they should plant vineyards and not drink the wine thereof. Like, shit, we built up Babylon, but we don't live in the most extravagant neighborhoods. We don't have the people fighting for our rights. We don't have people vouching for us. Okay, we don't have anybody that's looking out for our well-being outside of the Most High and His Son and the prophets. You know, now you got some jakes that's well off, but like Apostle Tar said, he said, look, you got rich jakes, but Jake ain't blessed, man. He gave an example. Michael Jordan ain't blessed, man. He has money, but he's not blessed. Nobody's bowing down to him. Okay, he's still in captivity. When the elites snap their fingers, man, it won't be no more MJ. So that's not a bless. He's not blessed, you know. And it reads here, and it says, and a great day of the Lord is near. It is near, and it hastens greatly. Even the voice of the day of the Lord. The mighty men should cry there bitterly. And the day is a day of wrath and a day of trouble and distress, a day of wasteness and desolation, a day of darkness and gloominess, a day of thick clouds and thick darkness, man. A day of the trumpets. It says a day of the trumpet and alarm against the fenced cities and the high towers. And I will bring distress upon men, and they shall walk like blind men because they have sinned against Yahweh, and their blood should be poured out as dust, and their flesh is the dung. Neither, and this is the point I wanted to make, neither their silver nor their gold should be able to deliver them in the day of the Lord's wrath, but the whole land should be devoured by the fire of his jealousy, for when he should make even a speedy riddance of all them that dwell in the land. So money, gold, silver, these investments, they're not going to be able to save us from the judgment that's coming on the earth. Okay, 1 Timothy 6, and 6, and I'm gonna start at verse 7 because Jake is just, they're overindulging in Babylon. Okay, I mean, one thing they go and take the money out the banks, but like I said, a lot of you ain't be able to get your money because they don't have it. All right, but this is the book of 1 Timothy 6 and 7. It says, for we brought nothing into this world, and it is certain we can carry nothing else, right? So we're not going to the afterlife with anything or any worldly possession. You ain't going to the afterlife with your starter jacket, man. Okay, angels, they don't partake in pleasures of this flesh. That's pleasures of the flesh. Angels are solely in the spirit doing the bidding of the Most High. So you go to the spirit world, you're solely in the spirit. You're in your angelic form. Okay, you're enjoying the presence of the Lord. You ain't counting money or, how niggas had that mirror of Kobe Bryant in the heavens playing basketball with the number 8 jersey with wings on his back. Kobe Bryant ain't shooting no 3-pointers or dunking in the spirit world, bro. He's at rest. Okay, he's up there with the Most High, and he's chilling. Okay, it says here, having food and raiment, let us therefore be content. But they that will be rich fall into temptation, and this place is all about temptation and covetousness, getting what the next person have, and that's the whole concept of this whole switching over of currencies. Esau wants to control the narrative, man. It's all about coveting the Lord's property, which is the Israelites, and he'll do away with his people in order to do so. And it says, but they that be rich will fall into temptation and a snare, and into many foolish and hurtful lusts, which drown men in destruction and perdition. It says, for the love of money is the root of all evil, which some coveted after, and they have erred from the faith and pierced themselves through many sorrows. You had men that fell away from the truth because they love for money, because they love for the world. They're like, you know what? This truth ain't it. I want to do other things with my life. And then, they fall out the truth. But it says, but thou, O man of the Most High, flee these things and follow out the righteousness, godliness, faith, love, and patience, and meekness. Fight the good fight of faith, lay hold on eternal life. And that's what we're doing through teaching the shows and staying steadfast and diligent. Eternal life whereunto thou art called, and has professed a good profession before many witnesses. And that's what we're doing. The good profession is going out and proclaiming the gospel. Okay. It says, I will give thee charge in the sight of the Most High, who quickened all things before Yahushua, before Pontius Pilate witnessed the good confession. Okay. But I'm going to go down verse 17. But charge them that are rich in this world. We're charging you elites, that they be not high-minded, nor trusting on certain riches, and you 2/3 Jakes. trusting in your money, cryptocurrencies. Jake learned about cryptocurrency 5 years ago. Now he's an expert in crypto. Nah, bro, Esau been cashing out on that for 10, 15 years plus. But it says, nor trust in uncertain riches, but in a living power, who giveth us all things to richly to enjoy. I mean, we gonna inherit the earth, man. We ain't gonna be in the kingdom counting greenbacks, man. Money ain't even gonna be a thing to us because we are gonna be the money. You know, yeah, we're gonna have riches and gold and silver, and we gonna blow riches. It's like crazy, but that ain't gonna be the top concern. We just gonna be happy with being free and being able to enjoy the earth, man. Like, in my opinion, enjoying the earth and living free without any oppression is better than what money can buy. Like, you can't put a price on freedom. You can't put a price on a peace of mind, you know. But they that do good, yep, it says, charged with that are rich in this world, that they be not high-minded, nor trust in uncertain riches, but the living power who giveth us all things richly to enjoy. Okay, and they that do good, that they be rich in good works, ready to distribute, willing to communicate, doing the work, laying up in store for themselves a good foundation against the time to come, which is the evil day, Jacob's trouble, that they may lay hold on eternal life, man. So what we do now, brothers, is a big determination on whether we're gonna make it to the next world, which is the kingdom of heaven, or not. So let's keep pushing, stay strong. Into the next lesson. Shalom and a ball.